Hello everyone, Rabbi Abe here. I have to talk to you about one of the most important topics that the Kabbalah explains, and if we understand this, we should be able to succeed and do anything. And this is the concept of desire. Now, desire is very often misunderstood. I'm going to explain exactly what desire is and how we should use it if we want to accomplish big things in our life or whatever, change, whatever it is that we truly desire. So, first off, what do you think? Is desire a good thing or a bad thing? Now, there are teachings that say desire, we should get rid of our desire, right? Desire is not a good thing. It's problematic, and the less desires you have, the less disappointments you're going to have in your life, and so on. And it's very interesting that when something bad happens to us, what we will find is the first thing to go is our desire. The first thing that is going to become or shrink is our desire. Why would that be? Why is desire the first thing to go? I'm going to explain that. But first off, I want to read to you from the ancient text of the Kabbalists, specifically Rabbi Isaac Luria, as explained by Rabbi Ashlag, and it is explaining about desire in the Tree of Life, in the explanation of the 10 luminous emanations. And in this text, he's explaining the concept of desire. I'm going to read that directly from the text, and I will explain it, and then we'll go into this idea of, well, how do we use this desire? What is it about? Is it a good thing? Desire, again, before we get into it, it's very exciting for me always when we talk about desire, because desire is it's the most powerful tool. You know, the Zohar says that there is nothing that stands before the desire of a human being. Okay, so he says, כדי להסביר המילה הזאת, צריך שתדע מקודם מהו מהותו של כלי רוחני. He says, in order to understand this concept of desire, we have to understand what a spiritual vessel is. What is a spiritual vessel? Think about it. What does that even mean? Spiritual means non-physical. A vessel is a holder. Well, what is that? Well, we call it in normal terminology, we call that a desire. A desire is a spiritual vessel. It's not something you can see. It's not a physical thing. It is some energetic force that exists as part of us, wherever, not in a physical way, but it exists as part of us, and this is where we hold fulfillment. This is where we hold happiness. This is where we hold pleasure. This is where we hold security. This is where we hold the feeling of freedom. Whatever fulfillment that we can possibly feel, we hold it in our spiritual vessel. The vessel is called desire. It belongs to our spirit, part of our soul. Okay. Clearly, it's not a physical thing. And by the way, neither is fulfillment. Fulfillment is also non-physical. It's a perception that we feel and we perceive in our spiritual vessel. Okay? Clear? And we can move on to the next step. So he says, you got to understand what a spiritual vessel is. And he gives us basically the parameters. I'm not going to read the entire thing. He gives us the parameters of the vessel. HaChomer hazeh, the material of desire, hu hamoded et gedulato v'shi'ur komato shel kol ne'etzal. He says, this very thing, our desire, is what determines the size and our capacity of what we can receive in our life. At any level. Shel kol patzuf v'kol tzfira. Okay, at any level. Because he says the light, the fulfillment, the beneficence of the Creator is without a doubt. It is endless, it is unlimited. That's what it is. Unlimited and endless. However, אלא רק הנאצל הוא עושה שיעור על השפע. אלא רק הנאצל הוא שיעור על השפע מכוח עצמו. Because it is the vessel, it is the level of desire that a person has that will limit, it determines מכוח עצמו מפאת היותו מקובל לא פחות ולא יותר מכפי שיהיו חשקו ורצונו לקבל. A person will never be able to receive. Doesn't matter what it is, if it's money, if it's love, if it's health, whatever. A person will never be able to receive more than his desire to receive it. While the beneficence, while that light, while the health, while the money, the abundance, whatever is limitless, it has no limitation, it is, of course, only the desire of the individual that will determine the amount that he or she is able to receive. Now, if that's true, then we got lots of questions, okay? Then of course we would say, well, wow, what do you mean? I got lots of desire. Where? I want. What gives? How come I'm not receiving? But the first step is to understand that that is the determining factor. Now, understanding what desire really is about, that's kind of an art in itself, which I'll try to give you some insight in this video and in subsequent videos. Because, keep in mind, the study of Kabbalah means receiving. Why do we need a study that's ancient, that tells us how to receive? Because obviously we don't all know how we can receive particular things. But, Kabbalistically, we want to receive the balanced picture of everything that we need, and even what we don't know that we need before we need it. I know that sounds maybe crazy, but that's what we want. Now, first let's understand, how does desire actually develop in a seed level? How does desire come about for us? Where does it originate? And I will tell you, while in the root of the root, it is part of our creation, it's where our soul originates. But for now, let's stick with the physical level. So where does desire come from on a physical level? Think about this. Think about it. If we lived on an island, somewhere in the middle of, I don't know where, Timbuktu, there's no technology, there's no cell phones, there's no iPhones, and a child is growing up in this environment with all the other members of maybe his tribe and so on, will he ever have a desire for an iPhone? Think about it. Can he have a desire for an iPhone if he doesn't know what it is? And of course, obviously, the answer is no, of course not. He can never have a desire for that because he doesn't even know what it is. He doesn't know of its existence, and therefore he can never have a desire for it. But what happens? You know what? The family moves to America, and this child goes to school for the first time in his life, and guess what he sees? He sees every kid has an iPhone. What's the first thing he tells his mother when he gets home? Mom, buy me an iPhone. Aha. Now, how did he come to the conclusion that he has a desire all of a sudden for an iPhone? We call this comparison. Simple idea. You have something, I don't have it, I want it too. I also want that. Now I know that there is such a thing called iPhone. Now, because of the comparison between you and I, you have, I don't have, I feel a lack. And within that lack is the desire for what I feel I lack. Simple enough? And it works that way at all levels, without going into more intricate details, but it's the same with everything. Someone tells you of an idea that they just had that you never heard before. And they say, you know what, I just thought of something. And they tell you. And you say to yourself, hey man, wow, that's a great idea. I never thought of that before. I'd like to try that too. What happened? So you were on that island that never saw an iPhone. You never considered this idea. Someone comes along and tells you about that idea. There's some aspect of, you had the idea. I didn't have the idea. You've enlightened me to the idea. And now I think it's good. I want it too. So desire is developed through comparison. Think about it. Let's say we would like to be a more successful real estate agent, and we're in a certain, level. We're selling $100,000 houses, which is, in today's market, probably not very big, but we're good at that. But we don't know how to sell $1 million houses. So should I go to a retreat or a meeting, a training with other people who are selling, $75,000 to $150,000 houses? Or should I look for one that has agents or salespeople that are selling $1 million and up? What do you think? I think the answer is obvious. I should go to that one that they're selling much more expensive houses. Why? Because being with those people who are at, let's say, a relatively higher level of selling, in this case, will do what? If I have the right consciousness, to inspire me, to motivate me, to make me feel, oh, wow, they can do it, I can do it too. If I put in the work, I can do that too. To expand my desire. So how does desire expand? Simple. Comparison. Good comparison. And I'm saying a good comparison because, in life, unfortunately, there's also, we can also perceive comparison in a negative way too, like everything has two sides, right? We can compare ourselves to somebody else, not in a positive way, and say, oh, well, they have what they have, and I don't have it, why don't I have it, and complain about it. Or worse, which I don't want to go into that area, but this is the positive aspect of comparison that has the ability, the capability to motivate me, to inspire me, to be able to see the difference between me and where I want to go, where I want to be. Okay, that's one idea of desire. But there's even a more important idea of desire that's going on over here, which you need to know. And it is an interesting phenomenon that when bad, quote, bad things happen, the first thing to go or that we will lose, according to nature, listen to what I'm saying, according to nature, the first thing to go is going to be our desire. It's going to become less. Think about it. When a person gets depressed because of a loss, what happens? You get the wind knocked out of you. You feel down. You feel right now motivated and more inspired? Some people might, but those people are more rare and fewer between. But truth is, that's the way it should be. We'll get to that in a second, but according to our nature, the nature of most individuals, when something happens, we tend to lose desire. Our desire tends to shrink. That's a problem. Because according to what the Kabbalist is saying, it is only according to the level of desire that an individual has is the amount of light that he is able to encompass. Now, what does it really mean? What is the real meaning of desire? And I've given several analogies of this before, but let me, give you one again, a simple one. And there's this, child who grew up and, at 5 or 6 years old, he's woken up in the middle of the night, every other night, and his parents are fighting. And he overhears this. His bedroom is next to his parents' bedroom. And they're fighting about the same thing every night. Money. They're fighting about money. So as this child grows up, he develops a wrong idea that success ruins relationships because his parents ended up getting divorced as he got a bit older. And he understood in his child mind that money or success leads to divorce. True? It is a false understanding, perhaps, but it's embedded. And so he might not even know about it. And chances are we don't know about those desires that are running our life. We call them, unconscious desires, or desires which are on the level of wisdom, meaning they're present, they're being fulfilled, and we don't know about it. Meaning, what does this child want as he grows up and he has a very good relationship and he loves his wife and his children, but he's not too successful? And why not? Because what he really wants more than success, even though he's trying hard to be more successful, family needs more money, he's trying, but he can't go beyond a certain plateau. And why is that? Because what he really wants, and he doesn't know that this is what he really wants beyond everything else, is safety and protection and security of his relationship. And remember, in his subconscious, let's call it, too much success causes divorce. So he will not be able to be successful until he understands the desire that's holding him back, and he's somehow, with the Kabbalistic understanding, is able to go past this desire and do what's necessary, whatever that is, necessary to overcome that desire with some other higher level of desire. So you see, on a unconscious level, he's getting exactly what he wants. Even though he's praying and maybe he feels, why is God punishing me that I don't have the success that I want? I assure you that 95% of us that are looking for something, that we think we want something, but actually at some other level, we may not want what we think we want, or, we may be getting something we don't want. It goes in both directions, or we're not getting something we feel we want, or we're getting something that we feel we don't want. It's the same idea, one way or the other. It's because of desires that we don't know about, but it's facilitating something. It's not necessarily that, I want this. Well, of course I don't want it maybe, but it is facilitating something in my life which I am not aware of. And if you are not aware of it, it's very difficult to achieve it. I'm sure you would agree. So, number one, we need to know what our unconscious desire is, and we teach how to do that. Number two, you need to be willing to go beyond that unconscious desire and do what's necessary in order to, yes, achieve it, or remove the issue, a problem, whatever it happens to be. That is how we can procure a true desire. Because just because I want something doesn't mean I have a desire. Oh yeah, I want it, I really, really want it. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that we really do. Because the true desire comes from within. And when we truly desire something, actually things are I don't want to say automatically, but things will begin to happen and transform to enable me to achieve the thing. Now, again, I asked the question in the beginning, why is it that the first thing to go when there's when we take a hit, or when we come to a loss of something, a loss of whatever, the first thing to go is desire. Why? Well, there is a negative side. There must be a negative side. The Kabbalists explain, yes, there is a negative side. There is a counterbalance in this world, in the physical world, and it's absolutely necessary in order to cause us to have free will. Because if everything is clear to us, and we know exactly what we need to do, and we need to, everything, we have clarity about everything. Oh, why do we need to be here? We know everything already. We know what we need to do, we know what we need to change. We know what decisions we need to make. No, we have lack of clarity. We have indecision. We have uncertainty. We have all kinds of things going on with us. And sometimes we need to learn, or we need to go through a trial and error, we need to go through some pain and suffering, understand whatever it is in order to learn what we need to learn. Life is a school. Well, what makes it so? The fact that there's a negative side, and we can choose wrongly, and we need to choose better. But this negative side provides us the opportunity for free will, which is part of the purpose. This part of the purpose, we call that the light of mercy. Without now going into it, we call that the earning of this life, the earning in this world. It's necessary for us to create an earning, a work, or being a part of the creative process. Without a negative side, that's not possible. Everything is clear. There's no real work involved. We know what to do at any given moment, and we know that's not true. We have to go through a process. And we are here for the process even more than the outcome. So, the outcome, of course, is important. So, with that understanding in mind, when something happens that's less than savory, the desire, potentially, is going to be the first thing to go. Oh, I lost, oh, I'm bad, or I'm guilty, or I don't know, or whatever. Instead, what the Kabbalah teaches is, no, now is the time to expand. Now is the time to intensify our desire. Because the negative side wants to rob us from that desire. Why? Because the true desire causes us to have more light of the Creator. And the job of the negative side is, no, you shouldn't have light. You shouldn't have blessing in your life. That's the job. It's a job. The negative side has a job to cause us to have free will. And free will means, there's an opportunity to become disconnected from the beneficence of the Creator's light. Yes. But we, with our consciousness, have the ability, but we must be conscious, we must be aware of it. We must be aware of the opportunity, and we have tools for this on the website, RabbiAbe.com. Tools to help us not lose our desire when those opportunities come about, when loss comes about, when difficulty comes about, when a downer comes about, and we feel hopeless now, we feel uninspired, we feel unmotivated, and we think, no, there's no hope. No. Now is the time to rise, above and intensify, double your desire to what it was before. You just lost $1 million. Now you say, all right, I'm jacked. The Creator wants to give me $2 million, and I'm going to do whatever's necessary, whatever's required, or whatever it is for us. When we feel there's been a loss, it's not a true loss. Even, God forbid, and I don't want to get into this conversation at this moment, but I will tell you this, even, God forbid, there's a loss of a person in our life, there's an opportunity to reconnect to them on another level, on a soul level, beyond their physical body. Yes, even to that degree. But if we say, no, we lost them, then I'm agreeing with the loss. And what I'm really saying, think about this, just ponder the thought. I'm saying that they were their body. That's terrible. They weren't their body. They were their spirit. They were their consciousness. They were everything that they were within. Not their physical features, not their hair. That's not who you were talking to or you had a relationship with. Now, I understand what I'm saying might sound strange to some people, but that's the truth. Even the loss of a person, if they need to leave this level, this world, there is still an opportunity. The soul is now even more revealed. According to the Zohar, the soul is now more revealed when it's not limited by a body. And we, as long as we are not now investing in the body and the person, and we think, that's it. They are lost, they are gone. I mean, that's what we say. They're gone. No, they're not gone. But if you lose your desire to connect to their energy, okay, for you, they are gone. Because we lose the desire for them. even to that degree, and I don't want to belabor that point specifically, but even to that degree, it is our job to expand desire. Expand desire. By the way, that's why Jews specifically sit on the ground when a person loses a close relative. It's called Shiva, part of this, I don't want to say tradition, technology maybe is more like it, is sitting on the ground for 7 days or close to the ground. Why? Because the ground, planet Earth, has gravity. What's gravity? The desire of planet Earth. I want to connect to the energy of the desire, the vessel of planet Earth, to support me, to strengthen my desire. Oh, that's for the person who has some consciousness and understanding about it, right? Not if we think it's a tradition or a custom, sorry. No, because things operate as well as our consciousness operates. That's the reason. So the job is always, when we have a loss of any kind, it's to intensify desire. Because of what he says. The light itself is endless. It has no limitation. It's giving endlessly. But what limits the abundance of that light, the Creator's light, from our perspective? The level of our true desire to receive it. Now, of course, there are parameters. What does it mean? Just a selfish desire? That's probably not going to work. But the true desire will always include others, the environment, and everything else that's necessary in that equation. Okay, so that's a little bit of learning that's necessary over there to understand that. But we're never talking about selfish desire or self-centered or ego desires. No, that's not positive and likely will not lead anywhere long-term. Short-term maybe, but not long-term and lasting. There's desires that will lead to long-lasting fulfillment, and short-term, of course, we are looking for permanency in our desires, which is what the Kabbalists are explaining within the framework of the study of the Kabbalah. Okay, that's it for this one, guys. Be blessed. Remember, desire is everything, and I'll see you soon on the next one. All the best. Many blessings.